You know, in the world of data, there's this critical first step that so many people are tempted to just skip. It can literally mean the difference between a game-changing insight and a costly mistake. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that step. We're talking about data quality and preparation. Let's get into it.
So I want to kick things off with a simple question, but one that really gets to the heart of the problem. What is the single biggest, most common mistake people make when they start an analysis? What's that one tripwire that can send a whole project tumbling down before it even gets off the ground?
And there it is. The number one error is jumping the gun. It's that rush of excitement to get to the cool part, the modeling, the charts, without doing the foundational work first. Believe me, this one mistake is responsible for so many flawed reports and bad business decisions.
So we really need to change how we think about this whole process. Data preparation isn't just some boring chore you have to get through. No, it's the unsung hero of the entire analysis. It's what makes everything else possible.
Our source material really nails it with this statement. It's not just a suggestion, it's a fundamental rule. The success of every single thing you do next, your predictions, your insights, your beautiful dashboards, it all depends, almost entirely, on the quality of the data you start with.
Okay, so what are we really talking about when we say data quality? Well, think of it as a simple question. Is your data fit for the job you want it to do? Is it accurate? Can you actually trust it? Is it consistent? If the answer to any of those is a maybe or a no, then it doesn't matter how fancy your tools are, you're in for a rough time.
So if our goal is crystal clear, high-quality data, we first have to understand what makes it dirty in the first place. Because let's be honest, real-world data is almost never clean. It's messy. Let's take a look at the usual suspects, the most common types of dirt we have to deal with.
First up, the obvious one, missing data. This is exactly what it sounds like, gaps, holes, and empty cells in your data set. Maybe a customer didn't enter their age, or a transaction date got lost somewhere. These little gaps can seriously warp your results if you don't handle them correctly.
Then you've got incorrect data. Now this one can be a little sneakier because the field isn't empty, it's just wrong. The classic example is a value that's just plain impossible, right? Like someone's age being put in as 250. It's obviously an error, probably from a typo or a system glitch, but it's in there, waiting to cause problems.
And next up is my personal, least favorite, inconsistent data. This is a massive headache for any analyst. It's when you have the exact same piece of information, but it's recorded in a bunch of different conflicting ways. And a computer, well, it sees them as completely different things.
I mean, look at this. To you and me, it's obvious all three of these mean the same incredible city. But to a computer, nope. It sees three totally separate categories. And if you try to count how many records are from Istanbul, your numbers are going to be all wrong until you standardize them into one single format. And finally, we have outliers. These are the data points that just stick out like a sore thumb. They're way different from everything else in the dataset. Now here's the really interesting part. An outlier could be a genuine, mind-blowing discovery, or it could just be another data entry mistake. You never know until you investigate. Let's make this real. Imagine you looking at daily sales numbers. On a normal day, the average number of sales is right around 100. That's your baseline. That's what you expect to see.
And then, one day, you see this pop up, a record for 10,000 sales. Whoa! Right away, you have questions. Is that a typo for 100? Or did something massive and game-changing just happen that day? You can't just ignore it, but you also can't just accept it. You have to dig in and find the story behind that number.
Okay, so we've identified the enemies, the dirt, the grime in our data. Now what? Well, now it's time to fix it. And that brings us to the solution phase, which we can call the Great Cleanup Operation. This isn't just random scrubbing. It's a systematic battle plan. This is our toolkit. First, you figure out a strategy for the missing data. Then, you go in and fix the obvious errors and standardize all those inconsistencies. After that, you hunt down and remove any duplicates. And finally, you put those outliers under the microscope. This is the real, hands-on work of data prep.
But hold on, we're not quite done. Even when your data is squeaky clean, it might not be in the right shape for the specific analysis you want to do. So the next phase is all about shaping and transforming that data.
This involves some really cool techniques. You might need to normalize your data, which basically gets everything onto a common scale, super important for a lot of machine learning models. You'll almost always have to turn categories like male and female into numbers like 1 and 0. You might merge different spreadsheets together or even create totally new variables, like calculating total spend from price and quantity.
Now at this point, you're probably thinking, wow, that sounds like a lot of work. And you're right, it absolutely is. Which leads us to the most important question of all. Why is all this effort so unbelievably valuable?
Just how much work are we talking about? Check out this number. Our sources say that this entire data preparation phase, everything we just talked about, can take up 60 to 80% of the total time for an entire analytics project. Let that sink in. It's not a small first step, it's the main event. It is the bulk of the work.
And here is exactly why that time is an investment, not a cost. The difference in outcome is just night and day. You've all heard it. Garbage in, garbage out. It's a cliche because it's true. Bad data gets you wrong analysis, faulty predictions, and bad strategy. But when you put in the work to create high-quality data, that's where you unlock accurate analysis, trustworthy results, and truly powerful insights.
So if there's one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. The data quality first mindset isn't just a good idea, it's non-negotiable. It is the foundation that every successful analysis is built on. And if that foundation is shaky, the whole thing is coming down. So the question I'll leave you with is, are you building on solid ground?